You're watching 7 Rivers Sports here on KQEG. I'm your host, Terry Erickson. Each week, an inside look into sports, wellness, and fitness. This week, we continue our look at high school athletes in the greater La Crosse area. My guests today from a very successful Logan cross-country team, James Duffrin, Dylan Mitchell, and Zach Slevin. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure to have you on, but a lot of people maybe don't know the history of Logan cross-country. Under Pat Mulrooney in 4 decades, won the MVC championship 8 out of the last 10 years. Sectional championship last year, placed 5th in D2 in the state meet. And these 3 athletes back again for the 2018 campaign. Well, let's start with the summer. Hopefully you guys had an exciting summer. But I know very well, because when I'm running and biking and so on, I see you out on the streets and in the roads and so on, and in the running paths. So the commitment to cross-country is unique. The uniqueness of a cross-country runner. James, I know you started a lot, you spent a lot of time this summer training for the season. Talk about your training.
Well, at first my training this summer got off to sort of a slower start because I was on vacation, so I wasn't able to run as much. But right when I got back from vacation in the middle of July, I had only tacked on about 50 miles in Europe for about a month, and then last month and a half I put on about 150 miles. So it got started up again real quick.
It did. So I've been to Europe several times, and I've run there, and there's not a lot of runners there, so you create a lot of attention when you're running. What part of Europe were you in?
Germany, Switzerland, Austria, all over the German-speaking countries mostly.
Good for you. And Dylan, I know I see you occasionally. Of course, you're a friend of the family, and I know you spend a lot of time running, and you run a lot of races. Unfortunately, you're behind me in a lot of races, but I do see you in many of those, and so your commitment is certainly extraordinary, to say the least. Mm-hmm. Talk about your dedication to running and what you do in the off season.
I mean, keep it simple. I mean, keep it the same as usual. I mean, consistency is key.
So a lot of people say, Terry, how can you run all the time? I mean, doesn't it get boring? You run the same routes and so on, but how do you do that in terms of varying your routes and maybe overcoming that mental issue?
I think, gotta change it up, run on different routes, do different workouts, a lot of different stuff.
And I know, Zach, you are just like these 2 runners, and you've committed a great deal, and your improvement has been outstanding, but it's because of your off-season conditioning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I think our coach, he stresses the importance of training in the off-season, and he does a great job of making sure we believe in that as well. So, yeah, just making sure we're training as hard, and we kind of have this philosophy that the state meet's going to be the next week, and that we always have to train that hard and not take a couple back weeks, or take it easy in the summer. You got to just keep training. The big races are right there. So
a lot of runners in various age groups and throughout the world have the problem, and our daughter does, and I have the same kind of problem, and that's overtraining, running too much, and as a result of that, some injuries. Is that something that's on your mind? Do you sometimes feel that maybe you overdo it?
That's always kind of in the back of your head, and you always kind of worry about it, but I think doing some of the little things in addition to running always helps you out with that. I don't know. We do hip strengthening and as well as a lot of core on our team, so I don't know, it all helps, and we kind of try to tone it back enough where you're trying not to get those types of injuries, but then still getting the benefits of that hard work. So it's kind of finding that balance in between.
Balance. I know, Dylan, you were an accomplished baseball player, played with our grandson, and you then decided to kind of go away from baseball and pursue track and field and cross country. But you've had some injuries, some setbacks. How have you dealt with that?
Just gotta look at how you can change things and make it better. More core like that, eating healthier, all those things, and sometimes you do have to calm it down a little bit with the mileage and all that stuff.
I know, James, you're an outstanding student, too, and you understand the importance of balance. You understand the importance of your mental approach. Your dad, an accomplished runner, too. Your brother, I saw him in a race just recently at Holmen. So many runners, though, struggle with the mental approach. Physically they may be at their best, but mentally they're not. How do you get yourself mentally ready for a race?
Well, a lot of runners always have their own sort of traditions. That's why a lot of people see runners as sort of superstitious people. I mean, I always play the same playlist with the same songs right before a race, sort of get myself pumped up, get the adrenaline going. And I think just as part of the mental state, you have to keep concentrating throughout the 5K race, and that's what makes cross country so hard. And that's why a lot of people can't do as well at it. But over time, if you keep practicing that, then I think that's a big part of what plays a role in our success.
Dylan, overcoming obstacles, all of us have sort of a demon inside sometimes, and we feel like quitting, hit the wall. It's like, I can't do this anymore. I've met the enemy, and the enemy is me, like the old saying is. Do you ever have that enemy inside of you that you struggle with?
I feel like, definitely sometimes there are times when it's tough where you might not want to finish a workout, but I feel like you just got to persevere through it and push through.
And Zach, you spent a great deal of your time. You're a multi-sport athlete, so cross country, track, swimming.
That's right.
Also,
yeah.
So swimming has been an advantage for you, getting involved in that particular sport. You think that is part of your success story?
Yeah, I would say it is. It has helped me a lot. Obviously, there's been other benefits with like reaching out to new people and things like that. But as far as like injury prevention, that's another thing that I feel like has helped me a lot, because prior to high school, I was struggled with a lot of injuries, and I think being able to kind of cross-train throughout a whole off-season really, while still staying in shape, it just helps a lot. So.
A lot of people agree with this, that the cross-country and track component of the track is an interesting dynamic in terms of the culture. You talk about meeting people. The interesting culture meaning that, unlike some other team sports, it seems like when you're at a meet, you're always rooting for your teammates, but other athletes too that are competing. It's a special culture.
Really?
I found that out in the races I run and when our children were running. Explain that culture to our viewers.
Well, it's kind of hard to explain, to be honest. I think it could stem from a lot of things. For one, you kind of know what everyone in that race is experiencing, and you appreciate the hard work that they're putting in, and kind of just thinking in their head of like how much pain they're going in, and you just want to encourage pretty much anyone that you can and hope that they can do the best that they can. So.
James, we talked about you're all academic, you're multi-sport athlete too. You sort of embody and you personify what an athlete is: student first, athlete second. James, talk about, is that something that is expected from your family?
Yeah, definitely. There's always a lot of pressure from my father as a teacher and my mom is also a teacher, so there's definitely always a lot of pressure from them to do well in school first and then put sports second. But I think cross country has really helped me a lot with my perseverance in academics and helped me learn sort of the kind of work ethic that I need to put forth in the classroom.
So student first, and Dylan, I know that's important to you too. Class schedule, balancing homework and so on. And taking care of other things in your life and for some young people, time management and balancing things is a challenge. Is that a challenge for you?
I don't think it's so much of a challenge. Cross country's definitely helped with time management and getting homework done and all that stuff too.
But you got to have a social life too, Zach.
That's right.
But something tells me that you have no problem with a social life. You balance that out because your personality is sort of in that direction.
Yeah, I would say there's kind of this. Oh shoot, I'm trying to think of what this saying is that a lot of runners say it has to be. It's like you either get a social life, academic life, or sports life, and as far as being a runner, and they say you pretty much have to choose two of those if you want to be successful. And I've kind of I haven't really accepted that, and I've kind of tried to like excel at all three and be able to do all three, and I feel like I've been doing okay at that, so hopefully that'll be able to continue. But
if I asked people around Logan to describe you, your students in the various grades, what would they say about Zach Slevin?
Well, I hope they just say that he's happy, because I just like to be happy a lot. I was kind of, you asked for a life motto at one point, and I just said be happy, because I think that's really important to me, and I just try to make people around me as happy as possible as well.
What, are you ever sad?
Oh yeah, I mean I'm sad, but I think just thinking about like what it feels to be happy, I mean it can like turn your day around real quick. So
what about if somebody's not happy and you're concerned about that because you're concerned that they may be struggling? What do you do to change their personality so they're like Zach?
I don't know that it's necessarily changing their personality, but I would say like just with the personality I have, trying to reach out to them and get them to be happier more often. I would say that's really important to do.
I think Dylan's happy too, but I don't know if he was ready to be on the show because he was nervous, but I think he's happy because what would your teammates say about you, Dylan?
I'm quiet. Definitely that I'm very quiet.
A typical runner.
Yeah.
Quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Are you quiet at home too?
Not so much at home.
Just everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And if I asked your classmates, teammates to describe James Duffrin, what would they say?
I would hope that they would say that I'm sort of coming out as a leader my senior year. That's what I'm trying to do. At times, my leadership methods can sometimes come across as more challenging to other people, but overall, I would hope that they think that I'm just doing the best that I can for the team.
We're all on a journey for improvement, and sometimes we deliver it in the wrong way, but we all mean well, including you. And so we're gonna kind of get more into learning exactly what these young athletes are all about. Our guests today on 7 River Sports. We'll be back right after this.
With our busy lives, it's a comfort to know that we can still remember loved ones in a traditional way with a monument. Lewiston Monuments in Lewiston, Minnesota has been helping families purchase a monument for over 4 generations. You'll find a large selection of beautiful granite, marble, and bronze monuments, all at competitive prices. And they're a full-service company, so they also do straightening, cleaning, and repair of monuments. Stop in or call for a no-obligation consultation, or visit lewistonmonument.com for more information.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team
who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, your comfort is our business.
Welcome back to 7 River Sports. Again today, we continue looking at high school athletes. Logan's very successful cross-country program because of guys like James Duffrin and Dylan Mitchell and Zach Slevin. Well, I talked to Pat Mulrooney, who's a good friend of mine, the head coach. He's been there for 4 decades. Here's what he says about you, James Duffrin. He says, James is this year's team captain. He's a fierce competitor who hates to lose. He's a kid who maximizes his ability and is willing to do everything he can to become successful. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I mean, I've always had a sort of a chip on my shoulder, I think, when it comes to racing and sort of the small dog against the big dog, David against Goliath. You know, I've always tried to drive myself towards success by not backing down from anyone or anything. So I think Coach is absolutely right on that. He kind of nailed what I'm basically all about.
Here's something to put in your shirt. Good things come in little packages. You ever heard that one before?
Yep.
Good. That's you. Dylan Mitchell placed 5th behind Zach in last year's, or was that behind Terry? Or no, I guess Zach. Last year's cross-country meet. Placed 2nd in the spring in the 3200. A friendly rivalry with both. Dylan is a friendly rivalry with Zach and Terry. Loves to run and is very coachable. Boy, lofty comments for Dylan Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
Thought?
I mean, kind of nailed it on the head. I'm coachable, I'm quiet, and I listen to whatever he has to say. And yeah.
And you follow his directions.
I do.
Because he knows what he's talking about.
Yes, he does.
Zach Slevin, highly motivated, self-driven, who really started to come into his own last year in track, is what Pat Maroney says. And you were a conference champ and WIA regional champ in this past spring in the 3200. And you have an infectious, contagious personality in terms of excitement for the sport, and that is contagious.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, I really love what I'm doing when I'm running, and I try to spread that to everyone on the team, and even people that aren't a part of the cross-country scene, and just show how amazing it can be. So yeah, I would say that sounds about right.
And you had a lot of success. So let's talk about this year. You open up, as we tape the show here on August 21st, you open up this Saturday at Eau Claire, and then the schedule culminates at the state meet in late October. MVC meet. You won it last year, 8 out of the last 10 times. So a few days from now, the season starts. What are we going to see from Zach Slevin?
I'm hoping for some big things this year. I think last year was a step in the right direction from freshman year, but I'm hoping for a much bigger step this year. I think we can knock the times down, and then not only individually, I think I can place well, but I think as a team we have a really good shot at some big things this year. So I'm excited.
And are we going to see the same success story from Dylan Mitchell?
I think so. I mean, shooting for big things this year.
Yeah, and are you going to still be behind this guy next to me, or are you going to try to surpass him so he follows you?
I mean, I think it's the same way with both of us. I think we're both pushing each other.
Good. Zach, have you ever seen the backside of Dylan?
I have, yeah. Yeah, I don't like it, but I have seen it.
James, I know you're looking forward to a great year, and that's why you're a captain, too, because big things are expected from you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely hoping to make a lot of leaps and bounds this year. Coach is saying at practice nowadays he's never seen me this confident or this fit, and I'm ready to get some really good times. I'm ready to really help my team in our pursuit for possibly a state championship.
Something tells me that you're going to achieve those goals too.
Well, I sure hope so.
Well, let's kind of get to know these guys real quickly in a rapid fire drill. You know what a rapid fire drill is?
Sure.
Where you throw those questions. Define leadership, Zach.
Well, this isn't really rapid because this is a kind of slow answer. But leadership, I don't know, just being able to be supportive of everyone and boom, rapid, go down.
Well, we're not done with you yet.
Oh, okay.
What's something our viewers may not know about Zach?
I'm vegetarian. Boom.
Good. And the biggest disappointment you've ever had, because you're not happy every day. Sometimes it's like, oh, I could have done better.
In sports, I would say the sectional race, 3,200 in track last season.
How about in life?
In life,
any speed bumps in
that is hard. I'll take a pass on that one.
Find leadership, Dylan Mitchell.
I mean, basically what Zach said. I mean, being supportive of everyone, leading, showing what other people should do.
What's something people don't know about you?
I have 2 dogs.
You do?
I do.
And do they sleep with you?
One does.
Do you keep them fenced in too? And favorite saying that would really sort of define who you are?
I mean, I said, it's not the, I don't know how I worded this, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's just that, wait. I don't remember, how I worded
what
it.
it is, because, you said it very well. You paraphrased it somewhat, but that's okay too. James, what's something that our viewers would be like, I didn't know that about James Duffrin?
I'm the principal cellist this year in the Logan Orchestra.
So you are gifted musically. You are gifted academically, athletically, musically. You got a lot of gifts.
Well, yeah, I suppose so.
Tough class schedule too?
Yeah, a couple college classes, lots of AP classes, so.
Favorite saying for James Duffrin?
I would have to say, every day is a new day.
Good.
So you can start over even if you were unhappy with the results of yesterday.
How about this? Attack each day with the enthusiasm unknown to mankind. Or is that you? Is that you? Attacking every day with enthusiasm unknown to mankind?
I mean, that's not the quote that I myself live by, but I appreciate that very much, and I think that is important for everyone to do.
Let's talk about a couple quotes as we end the show. Your reaction. Running is a bond between body and soul. How would you react to that, Zach?
Yeah, I think running is a sport that, like, it kind of depends on the person, but for me, I'd say that that quote fits me perfectly. I think when I'm out either with the team or by myself just on trail running, like, there's nothing better than it, and I just feel like I'm connected with the world around me and myself completely. So
the strength of the wolf is in the pack. That describes runners. You're strong, but your pack is much stronger. Is that applicable to the Logan cross country team?
I think so, definitely. I mean, you can't just do it all as one. I think you got to have everybody there and you all push each other.
If I can go off that even too, I mean, that's the whole reason why we won the conference meet last year. It's because we had 5 runners that were all there, and we were all able to put forth enough effort in order to win the whole thing. Even though Central may have had a couple places ahead of us, we still ended up winning the whole thing.
Well said. How about this one, James, as we close the show? To give anything but your very best is to sacrifice the gift. You've been given a gift?
Yeah.
Who said that?
Steve Prefontaine.
Steve Prefontaine. You're exactly right, Zach.
So, yeah, you have to give everything you have every time you step out on that track, or every time you go on the cross-country course. You have to give everything you got, because otherwise all your training's been for nothing, and your hard work and your talent just goes to waste.
Exactly, and something tells me that all 3 of you are going to have another tremendous year. Again, following the footsteps of those that ran at La Crosse Logan in the past, and you had a great year last year, all 3 of you. So it's been a pleasure to have you on the show again today, James Duffrin, Dylan Mitchell, and Zach Slevin. Thanks for being on the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back with some film clips on a couple of recent big games right after this.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team
Who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning. Your comfort is our business.
When you're faced with the decision of selecting a monument to honor someone dear to you, call Lewiston Monuments for a no-obligation consultation. Lewiston Monument is a full-service monument company, serving families in Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin for over 4 generations. You'll find beautiful granite, marble, and bronze memorials, all at competitive prices. Their experts can help you design the perfect and unique memorial. Lewiston Monument. Call today or on the web at lewistonmonument.com.
Welcome back to Seven Rivers Sports. We covered 3 games this past weekend. Let's start at Roger Herring Field. Rick and I were there on Thursday to cover the 2 top teams in the MVC, Holmen at Central. Central had cruised to 2 easy victories, non-conference wins over Eau Claire North and Eau Claire Memorial, while Holmen suffered 2 losses to Chippewa Falls and to Menominee. It was Holmen's ground game versus Air Central. Holmen marched down the field early in the first quarter on an Austin Deckant 15-yard run followed by a Jonah Johnson PAT. Brett Holden scored 2 times in the first quarter, 21-0 Holmen after 1. Ethan Hunt returned a fumble for Central in the second quarter for the first Red Raiders score, but Holmen continued to dominate on the ground with another TD by Brett Holden, 28-7 Holmen at half. Central got its offense going in the third quarter, a 1-yard run by quarterback Johnny Davis in the fourth, 2 TDs by Johnny Davis, 1 to Jordan Davis, and a 2-point conversion by Peter Fleming to tie the game at 27. Up steps Jonah Johnson, calmly kicking a 32-yard field goal for a 30-27 Holmen win. Holmen entertains West Salem on Friday, and Central hosts Aquinas in an intercity matchup, and we'll be there to cover that game. Carl and I were at Swanson Field on Friday, the home away from home for the West Salem Panthers for their MVC opener versus the Tomah Timberwolves. West Salem wasted no time finding pay dirt as workhorse Brendan Holt scored from 26 yards out, and right away, 6-0 Panthers after 1. 2 more scores in quarter number 2. Therick Roberts and Holt scored on the ground, an impressive 20-0 lead at halftime. Therick Roberts displayed his speed in the third quarter on a 20-yard run. In the fourth quarter, Tomah finally found pay dirt as Eric Gomez scored from 2 yards out. On the very next play, senior quarterback Joe Wopat scored the final West Salem TD from 16 yards out. Brandon Holt, for 86 yards, led the West Salem Panthers. Teammate Trent Foreman, 3 passes for 161 yards. West Salem 33 and Tomah 6. Well, Rick Wilson and Art Fahey were at Earl Seton Field for the Crescent home opener against St. Charles. It was not what the Lancer fans had hoped for, with St. Charles opening up a 26-0 lead in the first quarter. Sam Holt scored twice, Mark Burringay and Drew Leaskow also found the end zone. The Lancer defense stiffened up in the second quarter, giving up just 1 score, a 10-yard run by Logan Wendt. La Crescent's offense continued to struggle in the second half, failing to find the end zone, while St. Charles, on the other hand, scored 2 more touchdowns, courtesy of Jerry Thorson and Adrian Wilby. Zach Todd led La Crescent with 5 carries for 27 yards. The Lancers could only manage 125 yards of offense. Final score from Earl Seton Field: St. Charles 55, the La Crescent Lancers 0. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's show. I'm your host, Terry Erickson, hoping you will have an active and a healthy week ahead.